In this video we're going to have a look at two different types of chemical reaction, exothermic reactions and endothermic reactions. So here's the first type, exothermic. These are chemical reactions that give off heat energy. During the reaction, heat energy is going to be released from the reactants. They're going to start to feel very hot. That heat is then given to the surroundings. We're going to have a look at a graph now. This is what we call an energy level diagram. So before the reaction starts, the reactants are up here. This is how much energy they've got. So as time progresses, the reactants have got that much energy. We're about to do the reaction at this point here. Watch what happens to the amount of energy that those chemicals have. There's a big drop. That energy, the amount of energy that those products, those chemicals have, is now lower. That's because all of this energy has been released, it's been given to the surroundings. That energy is released, it's heating up the air around the container, it's causing the glassware to get warm. We call that the surroundings, the environment around the container. So we started off with the energy being stored inside the chemicals. As the reaction continued, we then had a sudden drop in the amount of energy inside the container as it heated up and gave off that energy to the surroundings. The products now have less energy than they did at the beginning because of that heat loss. The second type of reaction is an endothermic reaction. That's a reaction that takes in heat energy. These reactions will see a temperature drop. That's because energy is being absorbed. As energy is being absorbed, the temperature will then rise back up to room temperature. So the reaction takes in energy, it feels cold, temperature drops, that's because heat energy needs to be absorbed. If we were to have a look at an energy level diagram, we can see these reactions start off with quite a low amount of energy for the reactants. As the reaction occurs, we then get more energy stored inside. That's because the energy is being taken in, it's being absorbed into those chemicals from the surroundings. So they're taking in energy from the surroundings. Right, next thing we're going to have a look at. There are 5 different graphs on the screen. I'd like you to just work through which of these do you think are exothermic, which do you think are endothermic. Pause the video, I'll then go through the answers. Okay, hopefully you've paused the video, had a chance to look at those questions and possibly work out some answers. We'll go through each of these now. So we're looking for exo and endothermic reactions. The first graph here, we can see that the amount of energy goes down. If the amount of energy in the chemicals goes down, that means energy's left the reaction. That is going to be exothermic. In the second graph, the amount of energy within the chemicals has gone up. There's more energy stored inside the products. It means energy's been taken in. That's endothermic. This graph here shows a decrease in the amount of energy. That means energy has left the chemicals. That's exothermic. This one even tells us that energy is absorbed. We know that means that it's endothermic. This graph here is probably the most complicated. Some reactions require something called an activation energy. That's a little bit of energy, a little bit of heat to get the chemical reaction going. After it's had that activation energy, it can then release it back out, and it also will then release some more energy as well. So overall, this reaction, we can see there's an overall energy change going downwards. That means overall we have an exothermic reaction.